everyone. Welcome to another episode of HC Live. Here, it's a special edition. We're doing this to celebrate the Chronicle 100. And we have with us a really special guest today, the CEO and founder of Tricon Energy, Ignacio Torras. Welcome, Mr. Torras. I know you told me not to call you Mr. Torras, but I just can't help it.
Thank you, Jennifer. It's a pleasure, a privilege to be here with you today. It's looking forward for this chit chat.
Yeah, it's going to be a good one. And we also have Jonathan Diamond, a return guest, our business editor, and also someone I think you saw him last time with our Meet the Columnist with Chris Tomlinson. Always great to have you here, Jonathan.
Thank you. Good to be with you again.
Hey, Jonathan, good morning.
Good morning.
We're going to go ahead and give everyone another minute or two to join. And if you're joining us, would love to hear from you. Where are you joining us from? If you're at work, if you're at home, downtown Houston, Memorial. I just love seeing the variety of people and places that are tuning in. I think last time I saw someone joining, even though they are from Houston, they were joining from England on vacation, which I have to say is really impressive that you're committed to joining even when you're on vacation. All right, at home in Missouri City, Bel Air. Oh, wow. Hello from Barcelona, Spain.
Probably his family. I have a big family there.
Oh, that's fantastic.
Yeah, okay. We have seven siblings.
You've got I think a lot of fans here, the Energy Corridor. Vacationing also in North Carolina. Fantastic. Someone joining from Atlanta, at work near the Galleria.
¿Qué tal, Nuria? She's a teacher from ESA.
Oh, fantastic. Someone at work at Tricon.
Hey, nice. Don't let the competition take away your market.
All right, we have some people also joining from Mexico, which I know you've spent some time there before.
Yeah, I have a Mexican wife, and I lived there a year, and our oldest kid was born in Mexico as well.
Oh, all right, Bryce Village. All right, so we're at 2 minutes past the hour, and we have a nice quorum here. So I'm going to go ahead and hand things off to Jonathan. Jonathan, why don't you take it away?
Great. Thank you, Jennifer. Again, our guest today is Ignacio Nacho Torras. He's the founder and chief executive of Tricon Energy. It's a privately held logistics, trading, and market intelligence business serving the chemical industry. Tricon reported $10.6 billion in revenue last year, and that made it the third largest private company in the Houston region on our Chronicle 100 list of private companies. Ignacio was born and raised in Barcelona, moved to Brazil at 18, and from there to Mexico before moving to Houston in 1989. And he formed Tricon in 1996. The company now has 28 offices and more than 600 employees around the world. He's also a small business owner. In 2014, he's teamed up with chef Luis Roger, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, to open BCN Taste Tradition to feature Spain's cuisine and culture. They then opened MAD in the River Oaks district. Ignacio and his wife Isabel later partnered with pastry chefs Jordi Roca and Ale Rivas to introduce, and I'm gonna really butcher this one, but to introduce Rocambolesc, a Spanish gelateria. That business provides employment to young adults with intellectual development disabilities and autism. And Ignacio is also a sponsor through both Tricon and his family foundation of the Genuine World Cup. It's an international soccer competition for athletes with intellectual and neurological differences, which is going to be held here in Houston, August 1st and August 2nd. So welcome. We're glad you could join us.
Thank you, Jonathan. It's a pleasure and it's a privilege again, as I said at the beginning, to be here and to be on the top list of the Chronicle. Being number 3 is today the list came out and we came number 3. Last year we were number 1. So we had a little drop on revenues just because some of the products that we sell had a drop on prices. Even so, we had an increase on volumes of about 6%. But it is always fantastic to be on your list.
Well, so I want to maybe roll back to the beginning a little bit. I want to focus on entrepreneurship in this conversation, and maybe ask you what it was that prompted you, first of all, to leave Spain and seek your fortune elsewhere, and how you ended up in Houston.
Cool. So I left Spain when I was 18. And one of the things that we have a bit different between the Spanish culture and American culture is you don't leave your house until you get married. So my parents left Spain, went to Brazil, and here we went together with my 6 siblings. My sister stayed in Barcelona, the other 5 and myself went to Brazil. Then I went to college in Brazil, and I started working at that time, late 80s or mid 80s, in the commercial trade between Brazil and China. Now we're talking 86, 87, 88, and I don't even remember in 1988, I believe it was at the end of 1998, we had the Tiananmen Square event when China, on the oppression of the students' insurrection, ended up closing the borders for international trade and somehow disappeared from the international market for a couple of years. That gave us a position that we had an international trading arena, but we had no market. So we started looking for new potential markets, and that's why we came to America. At that time, we were doing chemical trade between Brazil and China. So when I came to the American market, I didn't get the product support, but I got a job proposal. By the way, at that time, I spoke no English. I came with my wife, Isabel, as the translator, and it would be comical how I would talk to her. Mediterranean people, we use a lot of our hands, so we used to, and I would tell Isa, you're not telling her enough that the price is too high. You need to drop the price. And she was using my translator. So making a long story short, we got a job proposal to come here in 1988. We went to Mexico for a year, and then we came to Houston in 1999.
So talk to me about the decision to go out on your own. What prompted that? Where you saw the opportunity, and how you made that transition?
So I came here when I came here, I came employed by a company. I came as a trader working for another company. The decision we made to work for another, I had my own business in Brazil, and the decision I made to come to another company is because I didn't speak any English. We had no financial resources. We had absolutely no money, no savings. So I needed to feed a family, and Isabel was already pregnant with her oldest son, Jose Luis. I started working for that other company for a few years, and did quite well. We did quite successful on the performance of the trading book. And like often says, a lot of the times the American dream starts around bonus time, when you don't agree with your bosses about the compensation and how much are you worth it. And that's pretty much what pointed out. We didn't see eye to eye on compensation. Not also that, but also we saw potential to grow a business on a different model, a little bit more trade focus at that time. And that's how we started. We started the company in 1996 with I always say, with a phone call that I did to Isabel, my wife, with I have good news and I have bad news. Yeah? Good news, we're independent. We're going to go alone. Again, bad news is we have no money. And the question I made her is, how much money do you need to take care of the family? At that time, we had 3 kids. And her answer was $46,000. Still remember to do that. I said, 46, I can make that. I can do it. And that's how we started in 1996. And in order to start the company, I always tell, and it's a true story, that I needed to get the funding for the first year. So I called my mother and said, Mom, my father had already passed away. I said, I need money to start the company. And how much? I need about $85,000 to $90,000 to start the company. And my mother said, okay, I think I can borrow you that, but I still have 3 of your brothers still single. I don't have a savings to feel comfortable. I'm a widow. So you need to sign me a warranty that if you cannot pay me the loan, I will take, the house that you have, I will take the loan we have. It was not really in the house. It was in a house that we had all the brothers split in Barcelona that we had inherited from my grandmother. I said, Mom, come on, you cannot do that to me. I'm your son. You have to be more supportive of your son. I said, no, I'm a widow. I'm not gonna. So we always said that when we started the company, our long-term goal, our long-term strategy was make sure we get to the end of the year without having to ask my mother for more money, because that's going to be a death sentence right away at the end. And that's how we started the company. And at the beginning, we had little long-term strategy other than just try to make one deal at a time, one client at a time. And here we are 28 years later.
So you come by the entrepreneurial spirit, honestly, anyway. It's not a capital intensive business, right? So it was really just, you just had to pay people and cultivate the relationships.
Is to get to 10.5 billion. So I don't know much about Calpine, I guess. But when you go Friedrich, which are number one and number two right now in revenues, but when you compare with industry related, to get to 10 billion, you are heavily capital intensive. In the trade and distribution, not that much, but still, to get to that amount of money, you need a lot of working capital. Mainly working capital is the main capital that you need. But yes, you're right. It's not compared to heavy industry.
And was it a difficult pitch to go outside the family to raise that working capital, or were you able to start generating it from sales at the outset?
We started generating from sales at the outset. We had a little bit more funding from a couple of some of the other partners. At the beginning, it was 3 partners, then 4, then 5. And then everyone pitched in, and thanks God, since day one, we've been profitable. We always been profitable. We always retain all the earnings. We don't give any dividends, so we've been beefing the company through results and done very well. So we never had a need to do fundraising outside ourselves. Today, we don't have any outside partner.
Great. And I guess maybe if you just talk a little bit about some of the challenges to growth. I mean, obviously the economy has, it becomes cyclical, and that can pose challenges. I don't know the extent to which regulations impact your business, but certainly international trade policy has an impact.
I would say the biggest challenge, and that's something that probably about in the 2016 to 18, 19, the company at that point was about a little bit shy of $3 billion. And all of a sudden, I find myself, I never went to college. I worked a few years with outside for other people where there were not huge corporations, there were medium-sized companies. So I don't have a background of knowing what it is to work for a big company. And I guess the biggest challenge I had is look, I started this thing without really having a long-term plan goal, and all of a sudden I'm running a $3 billion company. How do I go from here to forward? No? So I decided to get back into school. I get into some executive programs at IES, Nuria, and then try to see how do you become a CEO? What is the roles? And the biggest challenge that I would say that I had, and I still have today, is the creation of a culture on the company. We know how to buy and sell. We know how to create business models in terms of logistics and finance and risk management, technical support and distribution. We're quite good at that. But creating a culture within the company, that's the biggest challenge, and that's also the biggest opportunity. Once you hit the sweet spot, it becomes absolutely a fantastic, non-stoppable team. And that's probably the biggest challenge. And I had 3 or 4 years that it was a very stormy situation. How to try to make sure that you please everyone goals, but at the same time, you don't betray the objectives of the DNA of the company. Is not an easy one, that balancing act that you have to do. And unfortunately, some good friends left the company in that process. Some of them are still very good friends to today, but overall the company became stronger.
So maybe we could talk about that in terms of hiring and how you choose the right people to sort of advance that culture. Are there particular characteristics you look for? Are there histories, educational backgrounds? What makes that work?
Yes, to all of those. There is. I read once a book. I don't remember where it was. That it says it was a company was defining his business was not whatever business we're doing. I don't remember the business, but my business is where to find, how to convince, how to motivate, and how to retain the best human talent possible. Find, convincing, motivating, and retaining. If you can answer those 4 questions, and that's the creation of culture we were talking before. If you can answer those 4 questions, and it goes for compensation, it goes with a purpose, it's a very holistic answer, you have a great business, you have a great team per se. So we have done everything. We have gone to Ivy Leagues, we have gone to Corn Belt universities, we have gone to international, try to find people internationally. It is not a stereotype that you can say you can define per se. This is the kind of person that will succeed in the company. We have a kaleidoscope of personalities, background, formation, from theology to chemistry to history majors, from Ivy Leagues to no college at all, myself. So
what is that thread that ties them all together?
I remember when I got into into this executive program with IESE, we went to one of the weeks was in Wharton, and we discussed exactly what it makes a winner team, or what it makes. And I guess few things. One of them is definitely success. It's very, very hard to drive a team when you're having troubles and you're having problems. It means to have problems when everyone else, when the whole industry is having problems, it's okay. You somehow feel that you're navigated. But when the culture is not good, when they're having political issues, when there is not a single purpose when it comes into the objective of what you bring to the table, it is very, very hard. When the opposite, you can have everyone congregate on the same idea, on the same goal, and that translate into a successful business in terms of results, growth, and profitability, and then translate into good compensation to your team. That holistic circle, beautiful.
Right.
It's not easy. Still working on it.
So you among the folks you've recruited, you mentioned folks from overseas. You are an immigrant yourself. Can you talk to me a little bit, I guess, about the value, like what the both cultural differences in terms of approach to work and sort of the challenges are for folks coming from abroad to plant a flag here?
Sure. First, I guess Jonathan Diamond, that's very American. I don't know how many generations you've been here, but for everyone, the American dream concept is very charming, it's very special. But especially for foreigners, the concept of American dream is extremely attractive. And the American dream is almost becoming not just American, it's just the success from your own merit. It doesn't matter where you are. You probably can be in Spain or Brazil, and you still can dream the American dream on the concept per se. But I think it's very, very hard to find any other country where that can be happen like in North America. Extremely generous to entrepreneurship, extremely supportive from every aspect. Everything is here said that if you're really an entrepreneur, if you really want to work hard and bring a good concept to the table, the system supports you extremely well. It is a pleasure and it's a joy to be an entrepreneur here. Our business happens to be multicultural. It means we sell over 180, 140 different countries. So we have pretty much clients all over the place from every nationality you can imagine, with every different customers you can imagine. So to be multicultural is absolutely fundamental and is crucial. But not only that, look at this interview we're having today. I was having a meeting this morning with another client in North America, and we're debating what is going to be the future in terms of remote working and not remote working. As a matter of fact, today with the new post-COVID reality that we learn on the efficiency of working remote, you can pretty much have the office any place that you want it. So, matter of fact, that was the challenge the debate that we're having, and I would love one day, Jonathan, for you to enlighten us is how is my grandchildren going to be working? Are they going to be working in an office? Are they going to be working remote? I am a big believer that anything that makes your quality of life better, it will stick and it will prevail. And I really think that remote working is becoming extremely efficient. So the futures of the cities are going to depend much less about, certain, you have the headquarters of this industry, or you have access to certain raw materials, and it's going to have much more about the quality of life that it provides to the people. And so to be multicultural, to be international, it is a must, and every day is going to be more and more important. Absolutely, no doubt it.
So I have to ask, do you have a back to office mandate at Tricon?
Yes, and no one listens to me. So we have it. We moved to a new offices. We moved to, there used to be the BHP building and in Postdoc, super nice. We have what is called now, I think it's called hotel desk or intelligent desk, that you can sign for your desk and come in. The day that we have more people is on Wednesday, because it's when we have free breakfast and everyone likes to come. And I can complain. It's look, we're having the best years ever. I really think our employees are happy than ever. And the issue is, how do we make sure that we promote the culture, the values, the transfer of experience from older to younger employees? So we're doing a lot of happy hours. We're doing a lot of, we call lunch or learn, where we bring speakers and we do once a month, and we try to do that as much. But keep in mind, we have 28 offices. No matter what, our whole workforce is spread around the world. So almost by definition, we are remote working environmental.
So let's maybe pivot to the smaller businesses that you've chosen to take on. Maybe if you could first tell us a little bit about what prompted you to start the first restaurant, and then, you know, where the similarities are running or operating a smaller business like that relative to something that the scale of Tricon.
Well, it's few things. What problem? First one is, I always say, joking, that we're upset with the Italians and the French that they get all the reputation for being the best food in the world. And the fact is that the Spanish food is as good, not better, but as good as the Italian and French. But we don't have a lot of tradition of restaurants, Spanish restaurants. As a matter of fact, before we open, there is seldom, if you're from New York or if you're from Kansas or Chicago or London, seldom you know a Spanish restaurant per se. But the fact is that everyone who goes to Spain always tells you two things. The first one is how good is our food. And the second one is not very politically correct for Spanish, is how beautiful is Barcelona. I'm sorry, I'm from Barcelona. I need to do that sales pitch, but it's true. Barcelona is a beautiful city, but also Spanish food is fantastic. So we always thought that we had an opportunity to create a food concept or a restaurant concept around Spanish food. There is another side note on that. There is the theme of Ratatouille, the famous movie from Pixar, that is on about around the Madeleine, the theory of the prose, the Madeleine, that says that the memories that take you more strongly to your childhood are memories about flavors and taste. And if I ask any one of you, you know, which one is your favorite meal that you had, most likely, you know, you had great 3-star Michelins, great experience, but most likely it's going to be your grandmother cook, you know, your dad barbecue. In my case, was a canelones. It's a very typical Catalan dish that we have it. So I thought, look, if we can do something in Houston where we offer a good Catalonian food or Spanish food, sorry, not Catalan, Spanish food in a good ambiance and a good setup, I think people will enjoy it. And the only concern that we had was, you know, that in order to do our concept, we needed to bring almost a lot of the ingredients from Spain. And that's expensive. But restaurant business is one of those that price cost has a lot of elasticity. The experience tends to be much more important than another $5 or $10 more per meal. And we ended up doing that. And having said all this, the true catalyst for the restaurant was to find Luis. We met we met in Spain. It's a long story, but it's a nice story. Another day, maybe I tell you. But so we met Luis, a great guy, fantastic chef, and a better person than a chef. And here we got together. We started the restaurant, and we did probably the worst thing that can happen with someone that doesn't know what he's doing. Is we got successful on the first one. So we thought, okay, this is not a stop for that. Let's go for everything. And then we opened MID. And then we realized that we had a golden opportunity, both because Luis' background in Spain with working with people with neurological difference with Down syndrome. He used to work at a family that had 2 kids with Down syndrome. And he got very involved in something here called the Center for Pursuit. We thought, okay, what about if we try to do something now where we not only have a restaurant business, but we also create jobs for people with neurological disability or neurological difference, right? And that's how we created Rocambolesc, the ice cream concept.
I was going to ask about that. I mean, how that your involvement in that world came about, and we can talk about, you know, well, I also want to go back to the culture of the restaurants and how it may or may not be the same as Tricon in terms of, you know, bringing people on, but also how hiring people with these certain disabilities fits in with that, if it does.
Sure, definitely. No, going back, how do we run the business? We run it pretty much the same way. We have certain KPIs in the restaurant business. Usually, when you go make reservation through an application like OpenTable or Resti, you have a way to qualify your experience. Usually, is food, ambience, service, and value, and is 1 to 5. So what we do is we measure our performance, and then we compare against a bunch of other restaurants that we think are more or less on the same area, on the same public level, and then we try to make sure that we are on the top of the list, especially starting with food. That's the first priority for us, but also service and ambience, and then we make sure. And some of we have certain compensation and some bonus compensations linked into those performance to make sure that we're always on the top when it comes into quality food. And then when it comes into people with neurological, I happen to have two godsons which are in the autistic spectrum, and we see the opportunity when the company turned 20 years of age, we run the marathon, the London Marathon, and tried to and did fundraising for the Autism Association. And from that thing, one led to the other. And one of the things that you realize is you need to have more inclusion. Today, a little bit over 15% of people has neurological differences, and the employability rate for these families is very, very low. Or for these people, sorry, is very, very low. So we thought, okay, what about if we try to create a business when people with neurological differences can not only be employed, but also can make your business better. Trust me, if you come to Rocambolesc and you see Brandon or Mariana or Santiago, some of our employees, trust me, you will buy double ice creams. They are fantastic, great people, super charismatic, always positive, always smiling. They make your day.
That's great. So let me just go back to the KPIs on the restaurants. I think we spoke the other day, and you mentioned that the folks who are most likely to fill out those surveys on OpenTable are oftentimes the folks who are not as, like, if it's a great meal, you tend not to say anything. So how do you balance that input against what you see as the owner operator of the enterprise, and how do you accommodate to that?
Yeah, so besides, so we have the KPIs, so the 4-point something that you get rating every week or every day, sorry. And as you say before, one thing is absolutely sure: someone that is upset, that is not happy with the experience, is going to give you a rating, and is going to be rather caustic about it, and probably right. He was not happy for whatever the reason, he was not. And then it tends to also make some comments. So one of the things we do is in the restaurants, Paco, Jerry, or Remington, they will go through those reviews on a weekly basis, and we'll call them and say, hey, what we did wrong, how can we make it up for you? And if it was a fault, we will go out of our way to compensate it. And that's what we try to do. It is to be very proactive to make sure that we correct anything that is not happy, that is not satisfying the client.
So let me pivot and get a little parochial here. As you point out, the company is global, and you probably, because you're not manufacturing, you could be anywhere. Talk to us a little bit about Houston, what it offers here, what Texas offers, and how it might compare to other markets that you've operated in.
Well, Houston, sorry, 11:50 is Angelus time. That's another time. What Houston offers is a fantastic. First, it's a great port of entry in terms of communications through airplanes, so it's very easy to access in and out. Extremely friendly for business. Super easy to do business in this city, and great access to talent. For us, access to talent is crucial. It happens also that you have pretty much all the headquarters for the chemical industry here in Houston, most of the headquarters for the chemical industry here in Houston. So it becomes very easy both to access the supply source for the North American market, but also to travel and to communicate internationally. And I remember when we started at the beginning, it was a bit of a challenge. How do we bring people to Houston, New Yorkers and Ivy League guys coming to Texas? What a little bit of a challenge. And I remember having a meeting with Cargill, which I don't remember where the headquarters are, but they have a headquarters on the middle of Kansas City, maybe, and a kind of and he told me, I remember meeting this year, he told me, make sure that you give them a purpose, and they will come to you. Doesn't matter where you are. So over time, selling Houston, piece of cake. People wants to come to Houston. Lower taxes help. Let's be realistic about it. Quality of life, fantastic. Great schools, great restaurants now, fantastic restaurants. So it becomes easier now to attract people to Houston.
Talk to us a little bit about the soccer tournament, the Genuine, that's coming up.
That's a super cool event that is happening. It's happening as we speak. Right now, as we talk, all the teams are arriving to Houston. Let me give you a little bit of background. We're in the chemical industry, and the chemical industry, we're in the polymer, and a big agenda for the polymer manufacturers, for the polymer industry, sustainability, circular economy, environmental. And we managed to get involved with the Houston World Cup 2026 City of Houston, and our Chief Sustainable Officer is leading the sustainability committee for the City of Houston. So we got familiar with the people from the World Cup, for the organizing committee, and we're having discussions with them. And at the same time, we're talking about this project that is happening in Spain that is called Liga Genuina, Genuine League. And we thought, okay, is there an opportunity to maybe try to do something here, aiming at 2026, where we can bring some teams and start organizing a tournament of soccer with few points on the agenda? And then the people on the committee say, go ahead, let's see what happens. Making a long story short, first we need to solve housing, RISE. We call RISE, and they gave us 300 beds on the spot. Amazing. On the spot, no, because it was hard for them. It was March, so they only had certain days to give us. They gave us the spot, and then we said, we have betting now. Maybe we can have, and then the Dynamo came and said, you can count on us. We're going to put a team, and we're going to give you the stadium. Sure. Now we have bets, and we have a stadium. Now we need to find the teams. So making a long story short, we needed to raise the money. We needed to get the teams from Spain, from around the world to join. And within few months, within literally 3 months, we got everything organized and going. And it's looking very cool. Even the weather. We were trying to do it 2 weeks ago. The hurricane would have hit us. We tried to do it last week. The storms and the rain could have hit us. So we started tomorrow. And the weather is going to be beautiful, shiny, a little bit hot and humid, but this is Houston. And it's going to be a cool event. So we have 12 teams from around the world, including Barcelona, Valencia, Atletico Bilbao, and Nastic. We have 2 from Portugal, Sporting and Benfica. We have Inter Miami from Messi, Busquets, and Alba going to be, and Suarez going to be playing here. The genuine teams, Dynamo. We have the 3 teams from Mexico, the Tigres, Querétaro, and the Mexico national team. So we have those 12 teams are going to come. And I'm sorry if I forgot. I think I didn't forget anyone. So we have those 12 teams are going to be here. They're going to be having a combination of tourist visits. They're going to be going to NASA. On Wednesday night, they're going to go to the Astros. Thanks a lot for the Astros. They're going to, not only they're going to they gave us the ticket, but one of the kids is going to be, one of the athletes, is going to be throwing the first pitch. Then we have the tournaments. And then finally, we're going to finalize with the last day on Saturday morning, and everyone has to come. Those kids deserve a good public. In Spain, we say, este equipo mola se merece una ola. This team, super cool. They deserve a big wave. I don't know how you call the wave in English that you do in the stadium. So we need to make sure that we fill up the stadium with the spectators. Those athletes deserve to be cheered up. And then at night, we're going to go to the Inter Miami Tigres game, where some of the others are going to be also participating on the opening ceremony. So it's a fantastic event. And by the way, we had a last minute some visa issues. One of the teams is missing 5 players. So if you're listening and you're an neurodiverse athlete, or you are a family or a friend of a neurodiverse athlete, ideally a soccer player, you can go to www.genuineworldcup.com, put on the volunteer and say, hey, I would love to play. We need 5 players, and we have everything arranged. You can stay at Rice University. You can come with us to the Astros and to the Inter Miami, and it will be cool. And you're going to be able to play against Barca and against Valencia and against Benfica.
Great, thank you. So we're going to one more question, and then we're going to turn it to our reader questions. And I hope I'm not putting you on the spot. It's about one of the menu items at the restaurant. Apparently, there's a steak tartare that comes wrapped in a version of the Houston Chronicle. Which there we go. We've got a picture of it up on the screen now.
That's cool. Yeah, that was good. And I don't know what it says on the news, anything. That was so on our daughter wedding in Barcelona. They did that recipe, and it was the local newspaper with the wedding date, with the wedding. Isabel and Albert getting married, and that's where the idea came. It's cool. Don't you like it?
I love it. It's beautiful.
Maybe we need to have a picture of my the interview here. That would be cool.
It might entice me to eat steak tartare too.
Hey, so, cool. Next news is going to be the Astros are winning the World Series again.
Right. All right. Well, Jennifer, do you want to jump in and
yes,
let
absolutely.
us know what folks are asking?
Absolutely. So we got some questions in from email and also from the chat. So if you have any, please keep them coming. This one came in from email. And I thought it was really interesting. The experiences you have as an established CEO are probably very different from the challenges you face as an entrepreneur when you were in build mode. What is a challenge from those early days that you would never want to experience again? And what do you actually miss from those early days?
So we're having a discussion this weekend about, the success that we're having. If I would have ever thought about it, was going to be, and the answer is not, I had not a clue I was going to be doing so well. Never dreaming by even a fraction of the success I'm having. But one of the things that I had at the time, and was kind of good and bad, is easy feeling that we might not make it sometimes. We had 2 or 3 times in the life, and some of is not far away. It's in even 2020, where you think, shoot, how will I make it? Will I go through this crisis? Well, you're working hard. You have good work ethics. You have a good business acumen. So that was probably one of the moments that I kind of had bigger butterflies on the stomach. What do I miss about that time? I'm having a blast now. I really enjoy it. I'm working harder than ever. I mean, it is the amount of pressure and the amount of, but it's cool. We have a great team. We have a fantastic company. So it's such a. What do I miss? I have a great social life. I have a great sports life. I still play soccer, but I run behind the ball. I don't know if I play soccer, and I play paddle 5 times a week. I still have a great relationship. I go to church almost every day, and I pray the rosary often with my wife almost every day. So I have a super balanced life in every aspect. I have a great family life, great kids, great, even better grandkids than kids. I'm sorry, my kids, if they listen, better grandkids than kids. So, what do I miss? I don't really think I miss anything. I love my life.
Yeah, that's great. Here's another question from the chat in our in Zoom today. What skills, in your opinion, separate the successful entrepreneur from one who is not successful?
Luck, one of them. I don't know. It's not successful. I will say that there is not a bad idea. It's just lack of working capital. So if you're somehow common sense enough, and you have enough imagination and humility to bounce back from the lessons. As a matter of fact, that's one of the mantras we have in Tricon. In Tricon, we say it's not about winning or losing; it's about winning or learning. If you learn and you have enough working capital, you always succeed. Sooner or later, you will always succeed. I will say probably the difference between an entrepreneur who has potential to succeed, that succeeds or doesn't succeed, it is definitely working capital.
You talked about how, you have a great family life, you have, you work, you play soccer. There's a question here that's pretty, relevant to that. How do you manage work, family, faith, and philanthropy in such a busy life?
I have I have something that is called spiritual direction. So once a month, I sit down with a priest and we do chit-chatting about family values, about life, values, purpose, etc. And he told me once something that I love it, and I use that a lot. If you want something to be done, give it to the busiest guy in your team. There is something that is called in Spanish. In Spanish, we say the Spanish word is resolutivo. That's something that my wife and most of all my kids are very, very much. Resolutivo means the ability to find a solution quickly, sharp. Don't sit on it. So I think that's probably the best way to find lifetime for everything is we're very quick. We don't sit down on the solutions. We just move on. We keep doing things. And look, the day I sleep a little, have that, and it's not even a virtue. I have nothing to do with to be sharp, not to be sharp. I don't know, but to be with 4 or 5 hours of sleep a night, I'm okay. I can handle that very, very well. By the way, I'm the king of power naps. You give me 30 minutes, I recharge my batteries 100%. I'm super, super good. As a matter of fact, I have new office. I have my little sofa couch back here. I sit down, relax, and disconnect it.
That's fantastic.
But I think it's the ability to make quick decisions and to move fast and everything that I do.
Quick decisions. Someone also asked, how do you get so much energy to accomplish so many things? So I guess that the answer to that is the power nap.
100%. That's one of them.
I'm gonna have to try that.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
putting that aside for the future. And so this is kind of a funny question. I wonder what generation of a person emailed this in. What are your thoughts on your Gen Z workers? And this one, I don't know if I should take offense at. Are they better or worse than the millennials?
Oh, that's Gen Z. Gen Z one is, what is the age, Gen Z?
I mean, I think the early and late 20s.
Okay, so we just did a pilgrim to Bosnia and Herzegovina, to Medjugorje, and we had that discussion. Okay, now I need to be careful because I'm going to get in political trouble. And it was 40 of us, and 60% Europeans, 40% Americans. And we were discussing about the new generations. And I was telling them, and I believe it, that the new generation is much better than us. I think they're more sensible. They're definitely more solidarity than us. And then the issue becomes about work ethics, work, and then we saw a big discrepancy between Americans and Europeans on that sense. So let me tell you, back to Americans, new generations, 20s, 25s, fantastic. I think they're great. I think I always say, the issue, the debate about sustainability, circularity, we're not the solution. We're gone. We are history. We are not going to change our habits. Our kids probably also history. Our grandkids are going to change everything. There come with a lot of different values and sensitivities, and not because we were mean or bad. We just didn't know. We didn't. As a matter of fact, I was talking today to the person. If you talk today to your grandchildren, to your children about the campaign, "Don't Mess with Texas," remember that campaign?
Yes.
They say, "What are you talking about? You need to do a campaign about not littering." Yeah. 30 years ago, we need to do a campaign about not littering because we open the window, we throw things around, we smoke on the airplanes, we had trash, and we had unsafe areas on the city. Now everything is nicer. As a matter of fact, I like to say about my granddaughter, who was born in November, that she will definitely she will probably not own a combustion engine car. She will probably use more polymers per capita than we use. And with absolutely no doubt, Jennifer, with absolutely no doubt, she will live in a planet nicer and cleaner than the one that we live today. 100% sure. Humankind always gravitates towards beauty. There is always a tendency, doesn't matter what small forces we might have on the day-to-day, we're always going to be living in a much nicer and beautiful country and a much nicer, beautiful earth. At least that's my belief.
It's interesting. I mean, and one of the things I hear from younger people is that, while we may have that optimism, that they're not so sure. I mean, are you hearing that from younger people directly, or is it sort of your inherent optimism that's
both? But also remember, when we grew up, we thought the same thing about the older generations. We always believed that we inherited a screw up society or world, and everyone is the older generation to be blamed to, until we become parents, and then we see that the decision is on our shoulders. And then we see our parents didn't do that bad of a job, and it's up to us now to help and to make sure that we pass to the next generation something better that we inherited. And no, the new generations are gonna complain about us. That's their job. But they're cool. They're super good people.
Here's another question from the chat. When you think of your employees, what is the issue that concerns you the most about their welfare and their continual ability to be part of your work? So I guess it has a little bit of what we're talking about with return to office, and I guess the challenges our workforces face nowadays.
Yeah, so a big challenge that we have is, how do we make sure that we embrace the new dynamics, if you want to call it? This meeting 5 years ago, Jennifer, we didn't have Teams in 2019. I didn't know how to use Teams. I still remember when in 2020 during COVID, someone installed me Teams, and I was getting frustrated with how complicated. How can you believe that it's going to be? And here we're having a fantastic chit chat. It would be better at BCN or MAD, but it's still very good. So the big challenge that I'm 60. I'm not getting younger, so hopefully I'm going to be open enough to embrace and to see the opportunities of how the culture in the future is going to be, especially when it comes into remote, into digitalization and things like this. This is probably my biggest concern, to make sure that I don't miss the boat on that evolution.
That's nice. Here's a really good question also from the chat. I'm curious to know how Nacho starts his day. He's obviously very successful, so what keeps him going? Why not retire? In particular, what habits keep you focused and going to achieve your long-term goals?
Well, my typical day starts what I call my yoga time. Is praying the rosary. That's something that I do. It's a very traditional pray on the Catholics community, and this is my yoga time. And usually I have a priest who makes a joke and say, "Oh, you take too long." Yeah, but because I chew on it and I take a long. I tend to then do sports at 5 in the morning. So I have a group of friends that we play paddle at 5 in the morning for everyone listening to the group. Super cool. And then I keep going from the day on. So I have, as we said before, I have very good energy. So it doesn't bother me to work from that point 12 hours. I tend to go to mass every day as well. So it's something I tend to do around midday or 8:15 in Santa Cecilia, wherever it is. So we try to go to different masses. And almost always I have a lunch business, and I have a business unit as well. What are the habits that keep me? What do I retire? No, retire is not an option. I have a blast. I'm doing super good. I'm 60. I'm super young. I'm a baby. So no, retire is not even an option. But also it's a bit of a sense of duty when you're doing too well. Why I'm doing so good in life? I have many friends, many siblings that maybe are not doing as well as why. I don't know. Then I have a duty to give it back, to pay back. And that one of the things that is now very fascinating is with the foundation, the family foundation. We're getting involved in a few things, and it is cool when you can continue to lead a company. And I think I have many years ahead of me to lead the company. Make sure, please, that gives a good health. But also at the same time being able to do philanthropy work or to do work that is more in the social. By the way, not only that's important for me or for my family or for Isabel and the kids to have very active on that, but also it's important for the organizations. Today, organizations that only focus on making money, they're missing something. When you might be successful only making money, I don't know. But I think when you can give them a very good business concept, making good money, and at the same time, that company can have a social purpose and a social agenda, it's a win-win. That's unbeatable.
I just need to go back to the morning schedule. So you start your games at 5 after doing the rosary.
Yes.
So what time do you wake? What time do you wake up?
Well, it happens that the court is at my house, so
okay.
so I wake up at 4:20. But usually I almost always wake up at 4 in the morning.
Wow. Incredible.
And you know what happens at 4 in the morning? You know who doesn't wake up at 4 in the morning? The competition.
That's right. And someone chimed in. I'm assuming one of your colleagues or friends. Someone says he drinks espresso too. So there you go. All right. This is another, just kind of switch gears a little bit. In your experience, this is a question we got from email. In your experience, what is the biggest challenge facing the energy industry today?
Oof, that's a tough because keep in mind we're in the petrochemical, not per se on the energy sector. And I know my good friend David Bowen is going to be in a hard time because he's very passionate about the energy challenges, and there is a group that he's putting together, extremely fascinating group of people putting together, trying to find solutions for the energy. So the big debate that we have is, and I'm not an expert on it, so I need to be careful what I say, but is a big conflict between emerging markets and rich markets, and is the fight between clean energy and cheap energy. If you're in North America and you're in Germany, Northwest Europe, you want to have clean energy. If you're in emerging markets, you want to have cheap energy. You need to make sure you exercise. So try to find that balance between those two goals is I think one of the challenges that we have now ahead of us.
Here's a question that just came in the chat, and just, along the lines of entrepreneurship, the question is, how do you see women in entrepreneurship? But I'm guessing how have you invested in women in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, 100%. We have a big debate. I happen to be very lucky to have a great chief sustainable officer. And we constantly having these intellectual debates about the role of women in the company on a trading, and trading tends to be very male dominating industry. And how do you evolve into that? It's some of fact, if anyone from one of the big debates we have today is about schools, all male or all female schools, and a big proposer of, I'm coming from Catholic schools that used to be separated. So sorry for the friends that listen to me, because I know it's a very passionate debate. I'm proposing about, co-ed schools as a best way to make sure that we can break some of those barriers. No, I think women of the workforce is a fact today. It means I don't know what percentage of the women we have today in the company, but it has to be it's growing up, and it's fantastic. I think you bring a different sense of values into the organization. This on top of the normal sense that you bring on the day to day, and I think it's great. And I think somehow, in fact, I like to believe. I was reading an article on the news on the Wall Street Journal the other day that I thought that the remote working will even help a lot of the women that choose to also have a family, which I think is fantastic. And I think it's something that we should embrace, the woman that wants to choose a family as a career path, if you want to call it, that now the ability to be raising kids at the same time working remote from home can be a great opportunity. No, big embrace.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right. We have time for one more question. This came in from email. As an entrepreneur and small biz owner myself, I know I learn from my failures more than my successes sometimes. What is a failure in the past that you are now grateful for?
Failure in the past, and I'm grateful. Yeah, I would say, as a matter of fact, I always like to say that, you know, problems and failures make you fit and sharp. And I say, I'm okay to be fat and not sharp. I'm okay to make a lot. But somehow you have to, some of the failures, I would say probably some of the issues handling some of the people that I brought to the company, or that I sacrifice sometimes short-term gains for long-term pains in terms of people that were important at generating profit, but we didn't see eye to eye in certain company values and cultural values. I thought that was probably a lesson that I learned. Again, looking backwards, I don't know if I would have been able to make the next step. At a certain point, you have to sacrifice. You need to make ends. You need to make ends month, and for that, you need the profitability that generated for some of those individuals. But looking backwards, and again, I'm not saying that these people were not good. We just had a different view on what kind of business we were doing and how the culture of the business per se. That was probably the biggest challenge that I had, that are giving more headaches and biggest lessons I learned.
Mm-hmm. That's a good one. All right. Well, you know what? We're almost we're at the end of our time. Mr. Torras, Nacho, thank you so much for taking the time to join us. Jonathan, thank you again for moderating, and all of our guests, thank you for joining us today. All right.
And make sure you come on Saturday, 8:30 to 11 a.m. Shell at the Shell Stadium. Make sure you come to cheer those athletes. It's going to be a great tournament. Okay, let's fill up that stadium. Let's make it a cool. Let's show how Houston it is about this inclusivity.
Love that idea. GenuineWorldCup.com if you missed it before.
And we're missing few players. We're missing 5 players. First come, first serve.
All right. Thanks, everyone. Take care.
Take care.
Thanks very much. All right.